Hi, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. We just won after a few games of not winning against Volendam, guys. How does it feel?
Strange. But yeah, I'm buzzing. I'm very happy with that.
It feels
Here,
almost unreal. Almost unreal.
almost unreal. Yadorenko, I'm seeing a smile on your face.
Yeah, finally we're really gotten rid of Stein. So the Stein ghost is gone now. So lovely.
All right, let's just dive in the game we just saw. Volendam, Ajax Volendam, new coach, of course, van het Schip. We will touch a little bit more on him later after the game talk. Pierre, let me go with you first. So going into this game, what were your expectations? Did pretty much
Well,
what
I
you
was
saw was what you expected, or were you surprised? Tell me.
I was at least expecting a different starting 11. We of course started with Marta, which was quite a surprise. Besides that, pretty standard lineup. Maybe hoped Taylor would be dropped, but he wasn't. But that's about it.
All right. And throughout the game, any surprises? The way we played, the way we started?
Well, quite a few. We started on paper on a 4-3-3, but we didn't really play a 4-3-3. It was more of a 3-4-3 at times, which is also what we like at Ajax. When we attack, we like to play 3-4-3. So it was good to see that again, creating opportunities, passes. We made the field very wide, so it created more space, which made the guys look a lot better. So quite happy about that.
So basically, like in a nutshell, apart from the goals and everything that happened, you saw a little bit of improvement compared to previous games. All right. Thomas, people are here for you. I'm seeing in the comments that people just tuned in just to see you. You're the best commentator, I hear. So prove it. How was the game? How did you see that game?
First, I was like, my first impression right after the game is that I was disappointed because I gave myself very high expectations after the first half against PSV. Right, I really hugged to this impression I got from that game. But right now, I came a bit to my senses, and I think we weren't that great, but we actually looked like Ajax, like a not a very good Ajax side, but an Ajax side nevertheless. It was like, the Boer vibes a bit. I don't know. I don't mean style-wise, but yeah, but we were not very, very extremely convincing. We didn't create that much, I believe. But still, we were by far the better team, and we really deserved the 3 points. And yeah, we are out of the relegation zone, baby, and we're buzzing.
Yadorenko, are you buzzing as well? How did you experience that game?
It was kind of what we've expected. A little bit more tempo, a little bit more like what we've seen from Maduro, who made quite a change from the Stein era. And again, it wasn't perfect, far from it. But at least there was some energy and some drive to do something and to try something. The attack was lacking again, in my opinion, big time. Yeah, but I was quite surprised by Marta's performance, because in young Ajax he never really convinced me to give him a chance, and today he was fine. He was really good. Loved his approach, loved his fanatism in the field with flying tackles and 2 times cramp in the 60th minute. So yeah, I think it's a good start from what we've seen and what we have been suffering from.
Yeah. Look, at the start of the game, there was of course an interview with Van het Schip, and he said, "What did you see from this team? Being here a couple of days now, training with the boys, etc." And he said, in a nutshell, he said, like, "Yeah, this team has a little bit of low confidence at the moment. I've noticed that." Did you, apart from the fact that I agree with all of you, we played better. It looks refreshing a little bit. It looks more like we kept, like you guys said, we kept the field a little bit wide. We went from side to side. It was, especially Van der Boma, I think, had a very crucial role. He was like increasing the tempo a little bit by going very quickly with the passing. Apart from that, did you see throughout the game still those low confidence things
Obviously,
in the game? First
obviously.
half, second half, something like that. Is it player related? If you look at, like, for instance, not bashing anyone, but if you look at Shutalo sometimes, if you look at Guy sometimes, or is it collectively more as well?
No, it's if at times it's a bit of collectively, but I think it's mostly within the player. But look, you gave the good example, or the well example. Shutalo is still on the ball, very on edge. In the air, he's fine. By the way, this game he was really dominating the aerial space over there. But when it comes to giving the ball, it's like two worlds. If you give him the ball or you give Hato the ball, and Hato is just a kid, and he's so composed. He's such a class player. And with Citalo, you always just hope that he gives the ball long, because then it can be a good ball. But if he's going to pass into the center, it's 50-50.
Yeah, there's a difference if you compare him with Hato, right? Like what Jadrenko is saying. Hato has a little bit more confidence when he passes through the lines, like breaking the lines. And Sutalo is like, he can do it. He showed it sometimes, but sometimes he's like, because he's not fully confident, he's more prone to make that mistake.
Yeah, the passing is most definitely still quite dodgy. I also do think he's never been that prominent with his passing, not at Dinamo Zagreb either. He's very good defensively usually, but his passing hasn't been his best strength. It wasn't bad, it's just not on Hato's level. Hato looks more like blind with the passing from time to time. I also do think he still lacks some confidence. And you see, as the match moves along and he gets slightly more confident and he makes better interceptions. With some of the other players, I also think it could still be a skill issue, because I've watched Guy a couple times before, and I'm not sure if it's confidence or if he just doesn't really know what to do, or if he just lacks the ability to think that quickly. And as well for the team, if Volendam gets that one-on-one much earlier and they score it, I think the team could still crumble under the pressure.
I felt without going too, without being too negative, because we will touch upon the positive things. There are a lot of positive highlights we have to mention. But I felt like even though Ramai saved us at that one-on-one, we did crumble as a team. Our performance went down. We were actually holding back from that moment on, right? A little bit.
No, I agree completely.
Yeah. Just a question, Pierre, because you saw, of course, look, I haven't seen Soutalo play before he came to Ajax. I'll be honest about that. You have seen him play a little bit more, and we had like conversations about it. You were very hyped about him. And now you're telling us, defensively, he's a standout. That's what you saw from him at Zagreb. Can you explain to us what exactly? Because so far from what I've seen at Ajax, defensively, he looks very shaky, in my opinion.
Yeah, generally defensively for Croatia, but mostly for Dinamo Zagreb. When I watched him, he's very dominant in the air, but also very short on the players. When they get past the ball, he's very close to them, and he makes an interception surprising amounts of time. He does very well to stay close to the man he's marking, but he still seems to struggle at Ajax, especially when he gets the ball still. So it's mostly that. He's good in the air, he's good in the ground. He's actually very complete as a defender. So I was quite surprised that Ajax was even an option, because I heard Arsenal was also interested. So I was very happy when he joined us. But it's still quite tough to see him struggle with the passing so much. So I really hope he improves.
His base level, according to you, is much higher than what we've seen so far?
Yeah, definitely. I think he can do much, much better. Yeah. I also do believe that some other midfielders playing lower on the field helps him a lot. You saw Linson drop down quite a couple of times, and it definitely helps him to have more passing options.
Yeah. Can I ask you, Pierre, before I go to the other two, what did you notice out of this game apart from what you already mentioned, like tactically? What did you see, like maybe a little bit different, what Van het Schip is trying to do compared to what we've seen? Maybe not Maduro, because we had two different games, two different tactics, but maybe from Stijn. What did you see as a change in this team?
Well, one of the biggest changes is you see players making much more runs. He wants players to move quite a lot more. And with a wide field and players moving, you've got so much more passing options. And it's given players like Bergwijn, for example, who was, in my opinion, much better this game. He has space to make a dribble, pick a pass, and it makes him much more dangerous. If he has to be in a small field, which we saw under Stijn quite a lot, he's not that good in the combination that he can stand out.
Yeah. Thomas, a couple of highlights you want to mention, maybe player highlights from this game?
I believe that our captain is a very prominent talking point for everyone, not necessarily in a good manner, in a positive manner. And I really feel like he's had a very black and white game. Like he made a couple of things happen. He scored the goal. He should have had like 2 assists, maybe. Berghuis, let's leave it with a bit of a silence. And on the other hand, way too many times he was extremely selfish. Way too many times he chose not to press the opponent when he should have. Way too many times he was simply absent in defense. So, yeah, like a footballer of some moments, you can clearly see he has a technique. Maybe he doesn't have the best like a footballing mind, so to say. Still, I guess it's very hard to judge him based on this game, like to have a very clear opinion. He for sure was a very bad captain, as always, not a leader for sure. That's one player that came to my mind when talking about this game. Negative highlight would be Berghuis, I guess. He like really only wanted to either cross or to have a shot on target. It doesn't matter if the shot was actually threatening. Yeah, let it be on target. Even if it's a pass to the goalkeeper, yeah, I'll have a shot on target and I'll be able to brag about it. Yeah, that's the impression I got.
About Berghuis, right? I saw him a couple of times. I don't know if you guys noticed the same thing, but he wasn't himself. It didn't feel like the Berghuis that we know. He feels a little bit like almost unhappy to be on the pitch. I don't know. His body language was a little bit different. Apart from that, tactically, I just want to add something. Maybe you guys agree, maybe not. Also for the viewers, I felt he was isolated on the right side a little bit. He was the only one there. While he's the type of player that really needs somebody to, to do like quick 1-2s or somebody overlapping him or these kind of things. That's what makes him a better player. You're right. He's not that typical winger that he kept it wide, which he did well. But then he got the ball and he had to figure it out by himself. And sometimes I felt like he was going or overdoing it by giving, like you said, the crosses or, and sometimes it was weird to me that even Brobbey and Bergwijn didn't understand where he was passing the ball to, like the crosses, putting them in. So what do you guys feel about that, about Berghuis? Do you guys feel it's tactics? It's maybe it's not happy to play that wide or just, am I seeing things that are not there? That's possible as well, of course.
I get well, I don't know if he was upset, but I actually, he's usually way more emotional on the field. I can agree with that. He seemed a little bit absent, right? When it comes to the emotion, which is usually not the case with him. He very often gets very frustrated and upset about what's going on the pitch, and I didn't see it today. I wouldn't say he was alone on the right side. Guy, for good or for worse, tried to overlap him quite a bit, and sometimes it went even pretty okay-ish. But I always thought that Berghuis should be playing at 10 for Ajax. I don't like that kind of a winger. It's not that he's a poor winger in that role, but this is not what I want to see for us. And if he plays deeper, I always say he's a huge liability because he kickstarts so many counterattacks because he's careless so often. So when he's playing an 8, No. Just keeping out of that. But yeah, I agree. He seemed like maybe he still remembers Stein was at our club, and we all still remember because we look at the table and we see what we see. Maybe he needs to get over it. I hope because he still can bring a lot of quality for us. He's like the only really experienced player in the first team, so we need him actually. So I hope he goes back to normal. For now, I would leave it at that he still needs to recover from Stein.
Do you feel, Thomas, that the front three line is that compatible with each other? Berghuis on the right, Brobbey as a striker, Bergwijn actually on paper left wing, but like Pierre said, a different role, coming much more inside, freedom to like track whenever he wants, and sometimes he was very close also with Brobbey, so he's like sometimes even a semi-striker, like a second striker. Do you feel this is a good front three, or do you think we should look maybe at a different combination?
Well, if you look at the first goal, all three were involved, right? But it was very funny because Brobbey gave a run for which Berghuis didn't give him a pass. Brobbey had to turn around a bit because he wanted the ball in front of him, and he got it more to his feet, and he then he realized it was better to pass it to captain. So yeah, but generally, it was a nice piece of football. But for me, it showed that no, they're not compatible. It doesn't work for me to good. Obviously, we would like to find a good formation and stick with something for once. Yeah, let the guys gel with each other. We didn't use the word gel for a long time, I guess.
That's true. We're allowed to use it again.
Yeah.
I want to go with you because one of the main topics we had, apart from Stein, of course, that was number one. But apart from Stein, we were looking a lot on the midfield, right? What is the ideal combination on that midfield? You're seeing now also with Maduro, but now again that Van der Bomen is now playing as a pivot. But also we've seen somebody from the academy, and when I say academy, you always smile because you always want players from the academy in the first team. We're also seeing Linssen having a much more prominent role in the last few weeks, playing much more and also showing things, maybe surprising us even, because I don't think a lot of people expecting Linssen to have this kind of performance in the last few games. How would you rate this midfield right now, the midfield that we're working with today, but also in recent weeks, with Van der Bomen, Taylor, Linssen? Jadranko?
Oh, me. Sorry.
Yeah. Are you still with us?
Six. It wasn't. I like Van der Bomen. I like his passing, his opening, his search for depth. I love it. Linssen does his best and surprises us at times, but I'm still more leaning towards Missouri from the youth, or however you say it in English.
Missouri, yeah. But the thing is with Missouri, I mean, we'll touch on that at the end of the show. We have it in the agenda. The thing with Missouri is, first, he's injured. That's one. Second of all, it seems like it's going to be a complicated issue with him.
But not for this game. In general, I like Missouri.
No, but I'm saying, but in general, if he doesn't want to sign, do we still play him? Do we still give him a chance? Do we still reward him?
If I was Van Schip, I would, and maybe that can deliver some traction to sign him before the end of the first half of the season, because then he's eligible to sign elsewhere because his contract ends at the end of the season. I would definitely try to use him to get the midfield in order, and hopefully he signs. And if he doesn't sign, he doesn't sign. Then you have done something wrong in the past, in the organization and the management.
Why does it have to be? Why does it have to be that we did something wrong? Maybe he doesn't want to. Maybe he wants more money. Maybe he wants to leave.
Then it should have been clear already. Then you're not negotiating at this point.
Okay. Talking about the midfield coming back, so you would, I mean, if it was possible, you would opt Missouri on the midfield. Apart
Yeah, and
from
I would opt Taylor to go sit on the bench for a while.
who would play
because
instead of Taylor? Who would you play instead
Sorry?
of Taylor?
Vos.
Vos. So you would like to have Van der Bomen, Vos, Missouri as a midfield.
Lovely.
All right, Per, do you agree?
Yeah, I think I agree. I might play Tahirovic instead of Vos, depending on the game. But I like Vos, his qualities more. I still think Tahirovic has a future at Ajax. For someone that tall, he's very talented. But I also like what Van der Bomen is showing. So I think Van der Bomen and Vos should be the
Yeah.
defending center mids.
And Van der Bomen should get the captain band.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. That's a very good shout.
Okay. After what? All right. But did you have this opinion already before, or is it because of this game or recent games, Yodorenko?
I had it before. I think Bergwijn is the worst captain in the history of captains. Also today, he is so focused on shooting on the goal, no eye for his teammates. That's so uncaptainy, if that's an English word.
I don't think so, but I understand what you
Yeah,
mean.
whatever.
It is now.
But don't you think like, okay, let me like listen. Bergwijn doesn't do everything right. I agree with that. But don't you think today he was too maybe energetic, eager to be the captain, to show himself, to help the team? Maybe it looks sometimes like he's
But if you want to help the team, then you have 2 outbreaks where he has the ball and shoots on goal. And if you really want to help, then you pass it to the people who have a better position at that moment, or at least look and then decide. No, he's just focused on the ball and on the goal. And maybe it's better to get that band from him away, because he's now too focused on 2 things: making goals and being a good captain, and he has trouble enough with one of those 2. So,
but how likely? Look, I understand your position, but how likely is it that Van het Schip now is going to make that decision? After this game, I mean,
not likely at all.
It's a bit different.
He didn't rule it out actually in an interview. So
no, that's true. But I think he was a little bit being neutral about it, to see how things go. But I think Bergwijn really wants that to be the captain.
He'll get really upset if we strip him of it.
It will disrupt a little bit the group dynamic. I don't think that's a good idea, at least for now. So I don't agree with that. Look,
I'll be honest.
Go ahead, Per.
I couldn't really care less who's the captain. It doesn't really matter. What I want is someone to be a leader on the field, and that's what we're lacking now. I want someone to communicate, and I don't think Bergwijn is that player. So if it would help Van der Bomen to communicate with the rest of the team, if he's a captain, then you should make him the captain.
Yeah. All right. That makes sense. Let me go through the comments, guys, quickly. If you guys want to react, let me know. Steven had one comment. Hey, guys, perhaps you could enlighten me on the specifics of young Ajax call-ups and players' demotions. Why not use the youth team to get the recent incoming transfers acclimated, tactics and style? Ooh, that's a long question. Do we actually have specifics on that? It's basically if you perform well at young Ajax, if you have a couple of games at young Ajax and you perform well, also in terms of, I think the biggest thing they look at is physically, if they're able to, build themselves up and be ready to go with the first team after a while, along with the performance, they will get a shot. They will get a chance, right? This is how basically it goes. But in terms of demotions, there's not really a demotion that you get demoted to the young Ajax squad. I think rhythm is the most important thing, right?
Yeah, no, that's true. But you could technically play for young Ajax as long as you're, I think, under 23.
Correct.
So players like Mika Tatse, who are not getting minutes, could play for young Ajax.
But why is he then not getting minutes? That's a bit strange, right? He's
Yeah,
not
no,
getting
that's,
minutes at young Ajax. He's not getting minutes at not even as a 2-minute, 3-minute substitution lately.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think they just think 22 is too old for young Ajax. But I think it's surprising that he doesn't get minutes for the first team. I've seen him play at Metz, and he's fantastic in front of goal. He can score from every angle. but he's a striker and he needs to play at striker.
Okay.
Maybe he's not fully fit yet. And before we had Stein, so nothing made sense and everything was strange. So I wouldn't pay too much attention to that. For now, I just hope that Mikotadze is simply not totally fit yet. But I would really expect for him to get a proper chance because, yeah, I'm excited about him as well.
Reacting on Per, it's a bit of the same with Akpom. He now plays on striker position, whilst in previous subs he played everywhere, I believe, only not in the goal. And he's not a great ball player, but he is a decent finisher, and that's what you see. He's a great header, decent finisher, and he scores with his head. So you have to use the people that you have in the qualities that they have.
Yeah, I completely agree. I've talked to Roy about this when we signed Akpom. He told me it's a terrible footballer, and I agree. But he can finish, so then you should use him to finish. With
The strange thing is that Brobby wasn't a great baller in the youth as well. He was also a very clinical finisher. He could play very terrible games the whole season, but in the end, he scored 1 or 2 when he got a chance. And that is totally 180'd because the ball has to
He
be on
can't
the
finish
line
anymore. I don't know what
to
happened.
score. It's really strange what's happening with Brobby.
Yeah, I felt today like he was trying, and even Taylor was feeding him. Some people are trying to feed him, to help him as well. But it feels a bit forced sometimes. It has to come natural, in my opinion. Otherwise, it becomes something that can haunt you, a little bit as a striker. Let me go through the comments quickly. Ziggy is saying hallelujah, so relieved as we are as well. Max is saying, been saying this for some time, Robbie should come after Akpom and Mikotadze. He can't finish for Schip. Okay, it's a bit harsh. Steven, holy moly, I will say it like this. We won. Kabir, this one is for you. I hope Kabir is watching. Then Christian is saying good result, although we really need to work on finishing. Our chances this result will boost our confidence. I agree, like Berga should have scored at least 2 at the start, at least, and then you play a different game. I think, yeah, I don't know, man. We were rushing it a little bit at the start,
Especially that first one, which was basically, I already counted it as a goal, but it went just beside the post. It was a very, very big chance for Berghuis, and as you say, it can make all the difference in the flow you get into in such a game.
Right now, we're so thin on confidence. It can, you saw also when we scored, our level went up a little bit. But then when we conceded, like I said, the chance and Ramai saved us, we dropped a little bit, like with our level. So it's still shaky at times, but like Van het Schip said, we will talk about Van het Schip in a bit in one of his interviews. It's step by step. It's going to be baby steps going forward. So Pan Thomas, the best commentator. Broby.
Who am I to deny that?
Yeah. Broby played fine. How many assists did he give? He makes Ajax play better, but definitely needs to work on his finishing. From Steve, thank you for that. Steve is also commenting and saying about Van der Bome was the true captain today, directing all the plays. So good to see footballing midfield. Yeah. Sahbi, congratulating everybody with the win. Thank you, Sahbi, you as well. Losorkont. Let's talk about Ramai for a bit. We didn't even touch apart from the save, but he's saying one thing is for sure. Ramai is 10 times better than Gorter.
Nah, he's German. We can't play him. Don't play him. He's German.
Yeah. He's German. He's a signing from Sven. We cannot be too positive about it. No, seriously. Of course, a little bit of an emotional reaction from Losorkont, I think, 10 times better. But how do you guys feel about Ramai? We've seen him play a couple of times now.
He's solid.
No, I agree. He's actually 10 times better.
You agree with that statement?
Yeah, I agree.
Well, he has one thing going with him. He doesn't react to crosses like a dog who reacts to a firecracker, right? He's not afraid of them. He goes out there. He's very confident. Yeah, he's not always 100% perfect with that. He sometimes doesn't catch it, but he's way more confident with that compared to actually to any of our goalkeepers, Rui included. So once Hotter is fully fit, I believe Rama should stay in the goal.
But
Also with
yeah.
his feet, I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
He's very good on the ball. His passing is not always the best, but he's very good on the ball, and he's a bit like Hato. He's very clear in his head and makes the right choices.
I think
And
he's, I mean, about
that's
his
lovely
passing,
to have.
his passing, I would say his short passing is really good. I think
Yeah, but his long passing
ball,
is not always the best.
I think his long ball delivery is lacking. That's one of the things he can improve.
Yeah, but it's better that way than the other way around, right?
That's true. Pierre, you don't
reminds
agree?
me,
You want to say something?
Now he reminds me of Onana at times. He's very calm on the ball, and he knows what he's going to do himself. It's kind of nervous when you watch him as a supporter because you don't want him to just lose the ball. But he's doing well, and he's very calm. And as you can see, even in a one-on-one, he's not beat every time. And I do think his calmness just helps the defenders be more confident as well.
Yeah.
And his save today was magnificent because normally you see keepers making themselves bigs, but he just looked at the ball and went for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
fantastic.
impressive. Very impressive.
Awesome. It was really awesome to save, and it was very important as well for us. Danny is saying, guys, at this rate, you're going to be able to get Ten Hag back. Yeah, things are not good there either. Max is saying Marta was. Hold on. Yeah, now I have it. Marta was better this match than Avila or Sosa in the other matches, and Broby can't finish. Okay, we touched on that. Do you guys think it's something we should, build upon with Marta on the left side?
I think he deserves to stay. I'm not sure if he will stay there forever, but he definitely deserves it after this game.
Yeah, he used his chance fine, right? I felt like he was a bit naive at times and very enthusiastic in a youngster way. But overall, yeah, I like that because he took some risks. He was Ajax.
I don't agree, Thomas. I think Saladin looked really naive.
Oh,
when he came in.
but the fact that Salah didn't look like a donkey doesn't mean that Martha didn't have a bit of naive decision.
Yeah, what's going on with Saladin? Just quickly on that, because today I was really shocked how he played when he came in.
Terrible.
And also in recent times, like the few minutes that he gets, not convincing at all. And when he came from Twente, back from loan, start of the season, he was showing something, but it completely went away. Or am I seeing something else? So you guys have different opinion about this?
We had expectations based on what he's shown in Twente, most of all. But in Ajax, I didn't see that much.
But look at Guy. Look at Guy. I think it's a bit similar to Guy. Guy isn't great in the back, and he isn't the most confident when he gets pressured. But he's actually quite okay when he goes into past the line and seeks the spaces.
But the thing is, I would argue, I agree with you, but the thing I would say is, I would argue, at least Guy, you're getting from the Danish league, from another team. He has to come to Ajax. He has to get used to the system, used to the players, used to the environment, everything like that. So Saladin is from the academy. You know what I mean? He made, I'm talking about, if you come from the academy of Ajax, you come this far. I mean, you don't make the mistakes that he made today, like simple passing mistakes or very, very basic things. It wasn't like hard defensive one-on-ones or stuff like that.
His first ball was immediately out of the pitch, which was totally unnecessary.
Do you think his confidence level dropped maybe because of what has happened? And also now, Sosa is playing in front of him. Even Marta was now in front of him.
If you're not playing in such a terrible team form-wise, and Avila is in front of you, of course, you're lacking confidence.
Pierre, any comments on this?
Yeah, well, I agree, but I also still think he's been terrible himself. My problem is also that, like you said, Guy came from another league. He's still younger. He didn't play in the academy. And I'm also pretty sure Guy played as a left winger before, whereas I think Salahadin has been playing as a left back for much longer.
Yeah,
Um,
ages.
I know he's been, of course, injured for almost a year before he played at 20. And
Yeah.
it definitely stagnated his development.
Yeah.
And
But
at 20, he was midfielder, more or less.
yeah,
wasn't he?
exactly. He played as a central midfielder at 20.
Which is
So
different.
when we got him back, we all hoped, okay, he could play on the inside. He played like a midfielder. He's a left back. He used to be a massive talent, and it just didn't show. Not
Well,
at all.
actually, the story goes that Stang and the staff told him it's going to be a difficult season for you to play, but he insisted he wanted to stay and really show himself. He wants to succeed at Ajax. That's what he said. So
To be
yeah.
fair, I do think he also had a bit of bad luck because on the last day we signed Sosa. And if you have Avila and Wijndal in front of you, I could understand why you think, well, might as well go for it, you know?
Yeah.
So I kind of understand that, but still not great.
Okay.
And also,
Mhm.
I think one thing which is really something that needs to be shaken out of this team is that Stein really made a mess and gave players a chance and then subbed them and then gave them a chance again and subbed them. And you're kind of breaking their spirit. And that's what you see here and there in the team still, I think.
Good point.
There's so much lack of confidence in certain players then that when they have a good ball and they make a fault after that they immediately fall back in that oh, I don't want to be subbed kind of state.
Yeah. Go ahead, Thomas, quickly.
Yeah, one more today. Yeah, the confidence is still an issue, but I believe we've seen a number of times that the confidence was not the issue. It was like the lack of automatism or understanding of each other, which is a bit different. You know, after the break, the Linson and Brobbey both had the opportunity to get to the ball. One tried, so the other left the ball, but then it went the other way around, and in the end, a Volendam player got, you know what I said, on the right wing, right? So, and there was a number of things like that. Also, you know, Branko, who was wonderful, yeah, he almost cost us an equalizer because I don't know if Hato didn't shout to him or if he simply misjudged the situation on his own. But yeah, this is not only confidence, but I guess that the lack of gelling still is there, and the fact that we shuffled the team surely didn't help.
Yeah, but do you feel now with Maduro has done it a little bit, and now, well, Van het Schip is his first game, of course, but you're seeing post Stijn era, you're seeing like some players are now sticking to their positions. There are only a couple of positions are being changed right now. Not like before, like we got like 5 substitutions every game, you know, something like that. Right?
Well, I see something I said at the very beginning. I see something that I can call Ajax. Not a very good Ajax, but Ajax nevertheless. And that's a gigantic difference. The whole team had no clue before.
But we saw that already with the first half against PSV. That was also a huge difference compared to what Stein has been showing the last months.
Yeah.
And it's actually that sense that I think all want is get them playing, get them doing the Ajax thing, and you won't win every game, but at least you build up your confidence and your familiarity with the gameplay where you excel in.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
just
like I said, you know, step by step. This is very important. I know people will laugh and say it's Volendam, and yeah, you know, 2-0.
That's true. It's only Volendam, and they were not good, to be honest.
And they were not very negative. They wanted to play, which also helped us, right?
It doesn't take away the fact that we can be happy about it, right?
Sure.
What I didn't understand from Volendam at all is we made the field very wide, and they just chose to ignore our wingers like completely. Our wingers were open the entire game. Van de Bomen could just play them the ball, and they wouldn't mind. They were like, "Yeah, go ahead."
Yeah, they didn't break the passing lines for the wingers.
Not at all.
Yeah,
They
I
don't
understand
respect our
what you
wingers, simple as that. And maybe there's a reason behind that.
mean.
I mean,
all right.
that's fair.
Let me go through the comments quickly, guys. Steve is saying today just showed again that Stan was totally out of place at Ajax, and the coach was detrimental to the performances.
I
Yeah,
don't know
we're
what you're
putting
on about. The players are shit. Just ask Snyder.
Yeah, we'll touch upon that later.
Yeah,
as
he
well.
knows it.
Yeah. Ajax Magnus is saying Sotalo very low on confidence, especially when trying to play out from the back. You can see he wants to play the riskier passes, but then refuses. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but it's also especially with those kind of passes, you have to have a good midfield to complete those passes in the right way. And the midfield hasn't been sorted out yet, in my opinion. So first solve that, and maybe then those passes will be better. Maybe.
Okay.
I agree.
Steve-
Could I
Yeah,
still
sure.
touch upon what was said about Missouri? I completely forgot, but I
Yeah,
don't
sure.
really like the narrative that's going around. Everybody just expects him not to sign simply because City showed interest. In the past,
Who
he
is
hasn't
everyone?
really.
But sorry, Per. Who is
Well,
everyone?
okay, lots of people on the internet, of course, are saying Missouri won't sign. He's going away, or uh, don't be like Jaden Braff, for example. But I don't really like this narrative since he didn't really indicate it himself. He actually has indicated before that signing a contract at Ajax is something he will most likely do soon. And I don't think the narrative that we're creating, saying he's not going to sign, is actually helping our case. I think he's the biggest prospect in the youth academy, and I think we should do everything we can to sign him.
But
I think
Per,
in the future he'll be much better than Linson.
the narrative is not that exactly. The narrative is that he has a contract until June 2024, and within 2 months he's eligible to make that choice. That's the narrative. And then you can say, oh, he will sign, or you can say, oh, I'm scared that he doesn't sign. But the narrative is that, and the fact that he didn't sign yet feeds the rumors and feeds the fear, obviously, that he could opt for that choice. And especially when you keep buying average players and not giving youth a chance, that option becomes more realistic, because then he's going to choose, okay, I might not play at City, but at least I get paid five times as much. But if you're gonna put him on the pitch, and if you're gonna put Vos more on the pitch, then he might say, okay, I'm now getting a chance, I'm now gonna sign. Maybe.
Look, my opinion on this is the following. There are a couple of elements here, right? We have to put into consideration, also for our viewers. So first of all, we know that the contract negotiations with Missouri is taking a very long time. We're not talking about now a couple of weeks. We're talking about, at least from what I've read, at least half a year already when it started. So this has been going on for a while, and it's still, I mean, I'm not going to blame him or his agent, because we have also switched every time somebody else they have to talk to, probably. So we have our own issues from Ajax standpoint. But I also read, I think his agent said that, like you said, Jadranko, we bought so many players in the summer. He voiced his opinion, like, okay, we are a little bit worried about his, his future at Ajax. I mean, how many chances will he get? And I understand, this is something classical that agents do, and the agents say maybe they want to, increase their positions in the negotiation, stuff like that.
And agents have an incentive because they get a bonus from each transfer, so they have an incentive to change clubs.
Yeah, of course. But at the same time, if Missouri is smart and he looks around and is looking at now today, look at Marta. Nobody expected Marta to start, at Ajax. I heard today he's the one that has played the most in the KKD, Kampioendivisie for young Ajax. He wasn't always the best, as a winger. Now he's been tried as a fullback and he's playing much better. look at Vos, for instance. Vos is getting his chances. So there are still, with the players that we got, there are chances. But at the same time, these young players have to realize you have to be patient. And I think also he's not like how do you call it?
But
I think
it's
players
really,
know from themselves whether they're good, yes or no. You know,
but it's
not
really hard to be
easy
patient, Juan. It's really hard to be patient when you see an Ajax not playing an Ajax game and playing terribly, and having terrible results. Then it's not going to be that easy for a Vos, for a Gods, for anyone to remain patient, especially when that window comes up and City knocks on the door and says, "Yeah, maybe you can play at our second team."
But Jadrenko, if he chooses City, the chances of him breaking through is much smaller than at Ajax. Let's be honest about that.
Yeah, sure.
Could I interject something?
Of course.
Something that I think is quite important to take away is, first of all, I think we agree that Missouri is mostly a 10, and we didn't buy a 10. So
Yes.
usually he should be playing, he should be getting minutes. But sadly, he's injured. And I think if he wasn't injured, I think he would have already gotten minutes. I think he would have been
Stein,
subbed on
really?
this game. Well, maybe not from Stein. Maybe actually, you know what? Maybe Stein would put him in because Stein likes to throw youth academies players at us, so we like him more.
No, but the thing is also, I agree with you, Pierre, because Missouri, prior to his injury, he was really good at Young
He was
Ajax.
fantastic.
Exactly. So I agree with you. Okay, let me go back to the comments.
He was actually on the bench. Stein put him on the bench, I think, in one of his last games.
True.
One quick comment from me. If he goes to City and it doesn't mean he has to break through to their first team. They're known to develop players and that they continue their career outside City. We have such a player, for example. Yeah,
and who knows? We might buy him back for 18 million.
Yeah. So
we've done that before, huh, Robbie?
All right, here we go. D-Mac is saying Akpom saved us. Was a nice goal. Steve, the best thing today was the football, where understand it looked like the players couldn't even do simple passes. Yeah, so
I mean, it hurts, but it's true.
Yeah, that's true. Lozer Conte is asking how long is Forbes out. I don't think we got any news on that, right? So it's not clear yet. We don't even know what he has, to be honest.
No time frame. Could just be sick. I don't know.
He has an injury, and that's good enough for you.
Jake is saying Linson is such an amazing player. I think he has been performing really well. I'll be honest. I was very surprised, positively surprised.
His goal against Utrecht was amazing.
Oh, the goal is fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I agree.
And it brings some energy, but still, what everyone says, I think Missouri is the better prospect in the longer term, in my opinion.
Clinton is a bit, in a way, Klaassen-esque. Yeah, he's a very like digit-oriented player, almost, and also very passionate. And I appreciate that about him.
Would you say he's Klaassen-esque or more Donny type?
Oh, maybe, yeah, actually. Yeah,
a little more Donny, but also a little
I like
more
Donny more,
Klaassen.
so I like that remark.
I actually like Klaassen more. His mentality is much better, in my opinion.
Ajax plays better because of the footballing midfield. So always van der Bomen and Hlinson is a revelation. Yeah, people are here. Here we go. It's going step by step. It's going even higher now. Hlinson is better than Missouri. So yeah, man,
Yeah,
people are very excited about.
My hair is blue.
I mean, it actually is, though. It actually kind of is. With the light.
Why would Ajax Magnus is saying regarding the conversation about the captaincy? Why would he take this captaincy away now? That will ruin the momentum we're building. We touched upon that. That's true. Marta was great. Totally agree. Steve is saying Akpom is super sub. Yeah, maybe so. That's a good one. Shit on the Lopende Bank is saying also Ramai saved us the game. Agree as well.
Two saves actually. Yeah.
And
two saves, but the one-on-one was huge.
Yeah.
One big thing, Juan, which
Yes.
he haven't mentioned. we do not have the red lantern anymore.
All right. I don't know if
It's
people
the Dutch one.
but okay. Christian is saying it's a confidence thing. He went from first left back to third, and after that he has to play his games at Young Ajax. That's not really a confidence boost. I agree. We didn't even say that about Salahdin. That after a while he was just thrown back to the Young Ajax team. He was playing on the midfield even. I remember that.
Right.
But if that's going to make you make such passes as he did, then
no, it's not an excuse. It's not an excuse.
Yeah.
But still, it can hurt your.
Sure.
But if you look at the passes of Bergwijn, some of those passes were also mind-numbingly terrible. It's that you actually have paid that amount for such a player, and for a ball of 5 meters, he cannot even get it to his own players at times.
We're talking about who?
Bergwijn.
Oh, okay.
Today again.
Why? But why are you being critical of Bergwijn all the time? Like today, give him some, like give him a break, man. He scored. He had some chances. I mean,
I expect
one of his best performances this season. Let's be honest.
Maybe the best from him, even.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that says enough.
Yeah, it does.
That's
But
fair.
but the dynamic is at least.
No, but
also-
seriously, if you look at Gods, I don't think he had a real chance, but the energy Gods puts into the game is so much better. At least I like it so much more. Sorry?
Yeah, but the thing with Gods, he's showing glimpses of how good he is. I think at Young Ajax he's also becoming better and better. But now he has to show it at Ajax 1 first. Sorry, at Ajax 1 for a longer period of time.
Sure.
Because he got chances at the start of the season a couple of times. He was a little bit inconsistent, in my opinion. Agreed? No?
Yeah, no, I agree. I still am not sure if Gods is supposed to be a winger. He's very good on the ball and he's very creative, but he's not that fast. So I think he could also play as a midfielder, but that's just a suggestion.
Or maybe like a winger that tucks inside, like a 10.
Yeah,
he
maybe
plays-
like that. That's also an option.
Yeah.
He played as a 10 for a couple of minutes today, actually. So
Rick is saying in the end, the result was what we needed at home to give the fans something. 2 more games at home before away. Let's see some progress and be competitive against Brighton for at least a point in the Europa League next week. Yeah. One step at a time.
That won't happen.
Who's
Hey,
going to play
come on.
right back? Who's going to play right back?
it all depends
Come on,
on Brighton's attitude. That's it.
Yes, yeah, sure. But if you saw them in their home game, they're just, when they're playing ball, it's not for nothing that Pep said they're the best team ball playing wise.
Could I?
They can play such good ball game. Don't expect a point. It would be lovely, would be fantastic, but don't expect it.
Could I quickly explain something for the people that don't know? The Zerbi and his Brighton in particular are completely formed around the fact that teams will put pressure and they'll build up from very, very low on the field. So they'll fall back kind of. They still put high pressure, but then they take the ball and they basically build up from the beginning. And they're very good at making that build up when the field is very wide. And I think if we attack the way we did today, we'll get absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, I agree.
I actually think falling back is a better game plan against Brighton, even though it's not what we want to see.
Yeah, so looking back at last week, Maduro got a lot of criticism and heat for the way that we played. And
yeah, but
even though we played like that, even though we played like that, we lost 2-0.
But Juan, the criticism was from idiots like Kenneth Perez. Come on.
That's fair.
Why do you have to start, like yelling at the ex-Ajax football player, man? Come on, let's be respectful a little bit.
Because the ex-Ajax football players have been saying the most outrageous things.
I will come to that. Let me just go to the comments first.
If Maduro played forward pressing against Brighton and was slaughtered, he would have said, "Oh, it's so naive. It's so predictable with him."
All right, guys. Ajax Magnus is asking, why do we always wait so long before giving our youngsters contracts? Good point.
We actually don't really wait long. You can only give youngsters a 3-year contract until they're 18. So they're
That's
waiting
true.
until they're 18, and then you can sign them for 5 years. That's what most clubs do.
That's true. Although I have to say that things has been slowed down a little bit because of our organizational issue. Look at now Huntelaar has a burnout. Now Kelvin de Lang has to take over. Edwin van Sart left. Jan van Hals has to take over. So these things didn't help either. But I agree with you. And the thing is also that I feel like, for instance, with Hato, if you have exceptional cases like Hato or De Ligt or these type of players, even if they have a youth contract, you can upgrade their contract as a youth.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
And we haven't done that with Hato.
Cannot expand it until they are 18.
Yeah, exactly. We cannot give them a full 5-year contract.
We had this discussion. I solely believe that if you have a youngster like Hato and he comes to the first team, upgrade his contract and give him more money and pay him what he's worth, because he's actually one of the strongholders of this Ajax. So pay him that money, then negotiate with even a bigger pay, so you get those talents aboard and keep those talents aboard. But Ajax is mostly negotiating on the dime, and that's not always going to happen, especially when those big clumps come knocking.
Yeah, they're not willing to take the risk, especially when the player is a little injury prone. We've seen this with Van Axel Dongen as well. And now with Missehoui, who's also right now quite injury prone. But you need to pay them because they could be absolute standout players. And they could go for 60 million if they play well.
From a business point of view, it's absolutely ridiculous to buy Sosa, to buy what's his name, Avila, and not upgrading the salary of such talents like Missouri, like Van Axel Dongen. Yes, it's a risk, but the risk is so much lower than spending 10 million on one player and a salary of 2 million.
Yeah, we've recently been linked to Giannis Konstantelias, which is a Greek center attacking midfielder. And I like the guy, and he's very talented. He's a great dribbler. But paying 10 to 15 million for him is a lot more expensive than signing Missehoui for a larger contract.
That's true. That's true. All right.
We have what's his name again? Unuvar coming up. Let's hope they treat him in a decent way. And I'm not talking about Nashi. I'm talking about his younger brother, who's a striker, who's doing absolutely phenomenal in the youth. Yeah. Let's hope they will treat him a little bit better as they did with past talents.
Okay,
I agree.
Guys, I really want to rush through the comments because we're running out of time. So, Pierre, really quickly.
Really quickly, one last thing. Another player that hasn't signed yet is Idumbo Muzambo.
Yes.
The most annoying thing is if you lose Missehoui and then also lose Idumbo Muzambo, you lose two best talents that can both play at the 10 position. It would be a massive mistake.
So you will create like this black hole, basically. Who is next then in line from our academy, in your opinion?
Yeah.
On the midfield?
Yeah, so if 10, we lose those two, let's say
probably Faberski. I'd argue it's Faberski, but it's...
Faberski,
yeah.
No, I like
him.
He's
playing on the wing, right?
Yeah, he's playing on the right wing. But he could play as a 10.
Okay.
But still, he's still younger and he still needs a little more time.
And what about, what's his name from Anderlecht?
Gods.
Buani?
Oh,
that's also a 10, right?
Wait.
Bujeri? I forgot his name. The
young guy. Sorry, Bonita. I got it.
Bonita, that's the one. Yeah. Sorry. He's a 10 as well.
Yeah, he's a 10. He's been doing very good this year, but he's so small. It's a bit like Nachi Unuvar. He's very talented, very creative, but he's so small. You could push him off the ball so easily. And I think he still needs at least a couple years, and he needs to grow and get much stronger.
But he's now 17, something like that.
Yeah, but he's still. I think he's smaller than Unuvar even. I think he's like 162 or something. I think he's very tiny.
Okay.
He's also very thin still. So you'd hope he gets some more muscles and he could be interesting. I do think he's been scoring a little more lately, so that's good.
Okay, guys, I really have to rush now. So give me some time, please. La 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 is saying Marta, Akpom, and Schip top performance today. Rogier is saying they're becoming more and more a team. You can clearly see that. Yeah, I think that's a good point. Rick is saying it will be interesting to see how many of this year's signing end up staying after the season, or maybe even in January. You know what's? I mean, even Van het Schip hinted a little bit in his interview. We'll touch upon that quickly. That the Ajax gonna look at January window, see what we can do. So that's gonna be interesting for us. Dexter is saying, look, Stan should have been sacked after Twente.
Shouldn't have been hired.
Should have never appointed.
Even better. Also, Salahuddin, isn't Ajax standard despite our shaky form, but overall I'm satisfied with the performance against Volendam. Bergwijn was pretty okay today, to be honest. Let's see. Murder Inc. Finally a win, guys. Hooray. I think Akpom should be used more as a 10, or I see a right winger in him. Ooh.
No.
We did that already.
No. Oh, God, no. Please don't play him as a 10 or as a right winger. He'll be Klaassen at best as a 10.
Roy is saying, also reacting to you, Pierre, especially on the Brighton thing. If you keep the pitch narrow and use the half spaces of the game against Brighton, you actually have a decent chance. And then next to that, how well do you do against Brighton will depend on the usage of the half spaces and keeping the field narrow. Yeah, you agree with that, Pierre?
I agree, but we're still very bad when we keep the field narrow, so I don't think we've got much of a chance anyway, so it's a little tough.
Dexter is saying, look, I do not agree. I do sort of agree that the defensive stand is better against Brighton, but what we saw at the Ajax was just abysmal. We need to at least be more progressive in our possession.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they've said after the game as well. I think everyone saw it. They
That
didn't
was
know
first
how to
game.
get forward.
That was first game after Stein, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
Literally first one. So
The second half, they actually did much better getting forward, but it's still not good enough.
Yeah, that's true. But also we had to, right? We were trailing 1-0.
Yeah,
right
they need
halftime.
exactly. But
Again, the attack was terrible in that game.
Yeah. Guys,
Yeah.
we crossed the 1 hour mark, so I want to keep it short. We have a couple of things we still have to discuss, so let's keep it efficient this time. 10, 15 minutes tops, please. Yadorenko, I'm looking at you, especially at you. I'm watching you, man. All right, here we go. Thomas, let me start with you. I want to talk about the interview that Van het Schip gave on Monday. He was presented, officially announced, and we saw him give an interview at Ajax TV, but also at ESPN, basically almost the same talking points. What stood out for you? And it's a bit strange because we saw the game now, his first, game as a coach. But going back a little bit, what's your feeling of Van het Schip being appointed as an interim coach, and especially after the interview and how you've seen him come across to us?
Well, this might not be very reflected on the pitch today, but the biggest impression of Van Schip I got from the interview was that he really gives football like a human face. He really empathized the fact that, well, the whole his wife's passing, also him having to go to Australia for his son's wedding because it's such a delicate time, and I felt like he really thinks that the very human side of football is important, and it's lacking at the team at the moment. And I really have high hopes for him when it comes to the mental side of things, and I really believe that this is a guy. Or maybe I want to believe that. That's a bit of a wishful thinking. We'll see. However, I really got a impression that he's a family man, and also a guy. He lost his wife like 3 weeks ago, right? So it's a huge challenge, and he really seemed passionate about it. He mentioned a couple of times his wife wanted him to do this, and that's like a additional motivation. And I really see it in him. Yeah, I'm not very impressed with his past managerial record. I guess nobody can be very impressed, especially with the break he said. However, I just feel like he's an Ajax man, and he really actually cares. And caring about the team is literally quite the opposite of what the Ibiza man did, right? So yeah, I got a very positive impression. I really need positive impressions when it comes to Ajax. So I guess we all might be like adding things to our heads and having some wishful thinking in us. But I really got the impression that he's a very human person, and we and that team needs a human human
Approach.
attitude. Yeah, human approach, right?
Yeah. Pierre, what's your point in this one?
Yeah.
Your points about the interview, how Van het Schip comes across, but also what were you thinking when you heard about and became more and more like, yes, it's going to be Van het Schip as an interim taking over? Because there were some people also saying, why bring Van het Schip? Just let Maduro after those 2 games and Vos figure it out until the end of the season. What's
Yeah, I'll
your
be
stance
honest.
on this?
I didn't want him to be the head coach at all. Not just because I don't love his record. It's more because I don't want an interim coach. And when you get Van het Schip, you think he's an interim coach. And I don't like the fact that the upcoming 8 months we're just going to waste because we're going to have an interim coach and not someone that can build on a system. And I want someone that can build on the system. So at least if we get Van het Schip, I hope they actually consider signing him if he does good. It'll be a shame if he develops the team and then at the end of the season we'll drop him and we'll get a new Maurice Stein, and we'll be starting all over again, and we'll be back at the bottom.
Well, from the interview, he got this question actually. I don't know if it was from IXTV. I think it was from ESPN. He got that question, and he said like, "Well, it's something for later. We haven't really, talked about that. What will happen? So we'll see. Now, it's the most important thing is to improve this team and step by step and see how it goes. But it's not something that is not like you said. I think if he does well, there is maybe an opening, that Van het Schip can stay. But at the same time, I know that there are people that want to get like certain coaches. I mean, you always have been advocating for Knudsen. I think they have 5 games left or something.
Yeah, he'll be done in November. I think end of the month. Pretty sure, maybe halfway December. But I would love him as an Ajax coach. But it's also partially because I want someone long term and not someone to just be there for a couple months or half a year.
Yeah, but Van Schip is going to have a future role at the club anyways. So maybe it's a part of a vision. He just, I don't know. We'll see.
That's true. Yadarenko, I want to ask you something. Today, somebody told me that, especially when there were like small breaks during the game, Van de Bomen went to Van het Schip, and also I think he talked to who else? He was talking to somebody else as well, another player. I forgot who. But these are things we didn't see with Stijn. Really, we didn't see like this kind of communication with Stijn. It was very weird, like almost like you're seeing. And I know it's not nice to kick somebody down the curb that already has been sacked, or mention or saying Ibiza guy and these kind of things. We're not.
He deserves it.
Yeah, we're not mocking him, and I don't want to be that guy, but I have to be that guy because you're seeing clear differences. Did you notice that as well? And do you think like this squad of players, also international squad of players, might benefit more from the approach of Van het Schip?
Yeah, of course, because I think Stijn has had no approach. It was more or less like, okay, guys, play ball, and then I can book my ticket to Ibiza, and we can go on. It was clearly on the pitch that they had no clue what to do and what the plan was. And they still make mistakes, but you see actually that there's some intention to do something. You already saw that with Maduro drawing back, keeping it compact. And against PSV, you saw more footballing coming in. And now you had to play ball. You had to press a little bit more and keep the tempo up because you were playing Volendam, for Christ's sakes. So
You know what?
sure,
You know what's
sure.
funny? Yeah, you know what's funny? We didn't even touch about that a little bit during the game talk of Volendam. But when Volendam had to take the spot kick, right, when they started at the first half, and usually at home when the game starts, we all go like up front, we all move forward, but we didn't. We let Volendam do this the first pass backwards, and then they came. We were actually in our own half. We stayed in our own half the first few minutes. Then we started coming out a little bit. And what also was something that I saw from the Schip today, something that Stan was struggling a lot with, is our fullbacks were picking their moments to come up front. They were not going all the time up front, and just, like Guy went up front a couple of times, but only a few times. Same for Marta. They were very conscious of their position, staying at the back, helping the defense out. So this is something that really stood out for me today as well, even though it was Volendam. So
Yeah, to me, it felt like most of the players got very clear instructions. You saw the wingers get wide, you saw the fullbacks make a run, but not at the same time.
true.
Very, very clear communication is what I take away from that. Not inside the team, but from the coach to the team.
The only thing is that what you saw today again was that they did do a high tempo game, or at least tried, especially in the first half and in the first 15 minutes. But what you see is when you play that game and you don't play the high pressing game, teams can play out of that, especially when the teams get better. They can play out of that. So I really hope that the technical staff sees this and acknowledges this and concludes that they need to press more in the coming games, or at least train that towards the coming games. So when we're in the second half of the season and we're getting the bigger opponents again, then we're a little bit better in playing that game, because then we actually have a chance, even against PSV, even against Feyenoord, with this team. At least that's what I believe.
Yeah. Go ahead, Thomas. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I get the impression that this team has no idea how to press, and regardless, we tried to do this under Stein, which was disastrous at times, made us very vulnerable. And right now, I hope we just Van Schip wants to teach the guys, hey, this is how you press, and until we know how to do this, we won't do this. And I hope we learn how to. It's not a quantum physics.
But you have to train it, and then you have to just do it and get acquainted with it.
Mm-hmm.
And make mistakes in that, and just do it, experience it.
Yeah.
For me, there's no other way. You just have to.
I think it will come. I think this is something
That's my point.
Yeah, exactly. I think he had a few days.
With Stein, it was mostly that one or two players were pressing, not the whole team.
It was not cohesive enough. I agree. It was not cohesive as a team. I think it will come. I think the pressing will come eventually after a couple of more trainings and stuff like that, bit by bit, piece by piece. But I think the defensive structure was already much better if you look at it, right? And talking about defensive structure, we have to touch upon Maduro quickly, because we didn't really have a chance to talk about him specifically in those two games, Brighton and PSV. Look, there was a lot of debate prior in the Stein era about, and he was helped, of course, also by his, let's say, Ajax friends. We will touch upon that as well now. We're talking about certain players, ex-players of Ajax. There's this debate about quality of the players, quality of the squad. There's this debate about Stein is not good enough to even do something about this team, no matter what quality of the squad you have. Did Maduro change that narrative, in your opinion, a little bit? Did he change the narrative about maybe not entirely that the squad is good enough, but also not that, a coach can have an influence or can do something about the team, even though you're not happy with the squad players or the quality or whatever? What did you guys take out of the Maduro week? Let me put it 1 week. It was even less than a week, with a couple of days. That's my first question. And the second question I want to throw at you at the same time, which you guys can discuss together, is when Maduro took over, he clearly said that he wants to do a couple of things differently. Not entirely, but a couple of things, especially the communication side of things. He said, my delivery was a little bit different than Stijn. He's getting a lot of criticism from Sneijder, Van der Meijden, Dick Advocaat, even Johan Derksen. All these kind of pundits are like maybe joking about why is Maduro acting like he was not the main assistant of Stijn before. Like he's now coming in and saying, I'm going to do it differently, while at the same time he was the main assistant. So he was also responsible for everything that happened before. Where do you guys stand on this whole debate on those two questions? Let me start with Peer, and you guys can discuss about it.
First of all, I wasn't happy with the appointment of Maduro at start, because I didn't believe that if he is Stein's assistant, he should be the one to fix it. The thing that actually gave me a lot more hope is the fact that Stein didn't want him at the club anymore, which means that at least they had some conflict, and I hope it's about the tactics. So then it made more sense to give Maduro a shot. I also want to quickly mention that Dave Vos, I think, is a very, very important part in how he played the last couple of games. Because the passing to me looks very much Dave Vos. And you've also heard Robbie say in the interview, Maduro and Vos made a very good plan against PSV, but I didn't finish my chances. So I do think we shouldn't forget him. I think he was a vital part to the last couple of weeks and the improvement. So besides that, I do think Maduro did well, and he definitely changed the narrative a bit. But I also think the narrative in general was ridiculous. I think
which narrative part was ridiculous?
The fact that the players are trash and that nobody could do better than Stein. We can definitely do better than 18th. I don't care if we have 2 games in hand or 10. You should never be 18th. It's ridiculous.
Besides the position on the ranking, the football was absolutely horrific. What was played under Stein. So he absolutely showed that it's not hard to change that.
No, what I didn't understand is it felt like when Stein said the players on the field, he just tried to get fired or something. Like he would get more money if he got fired sooner. Like
he
the plan was ridiculous.
With a big pile of money, basically.
It didn't make any sense. He didn't give the players any options, even if they had trouble passing. He didn't want to create more passing options. He just didn't care. I don't understand.
It seems that way.
Okay, so let me add something to that. If thank you. So the whole criticism of Maduro, like suggesting that he has no moral ground to state that he had any impact. You know, as far as I remember, the manager is the actual person who makes final decisions, and the manager is the person who takes the responsibility. And you know, if I am an employee somewhere and I suggest something, it doesn't mean it was going to be reflected on the pitch or on the plan within the plan. So this is absolutely ridiculous, and I think you know, the ex-players of ours are have Stein very deep within them to be a bit not naughty here.
They denied that the coffee sessions they had with Stein had an effect, but they're still talking like the Telegraph.
Could I call out?
One thing I want to finish.
Go ahead,
also, I believe that actions speak way more than words. And what we've seen, even in the bloody Brighton game, there were huge improvements on very basic footballing stuff. And apparently, just a couple of days after Stein left, everyone can do something at all. So it's a clear indicator what what the piece of feces in the wine barrel was. Maurice Stein. That's there for you. Obvious stuff.
It's actually really strange what it's not strange what Peer says, but it's really, really strange what happened because it really feels like he just wanted to go to Ibiza and didn't really care about anything that happened to Ajax. There was a pundit from John van Sweden that he infiltrated Ajax and crushed Ajax. You're almost going to believe that if you look back on what he did and how he did it. So I'm really glad that he's gone and is never coming back.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's just weird what happened. It just doesn't make sense to me. I'd also like to.
Twice with Jol, it was terrible, and now again another one from The Hague. It's also terrible. So no more coaches from The Hague.
Yeah, I agree.
Surely Stijn wins the prize for the worst coach ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't seen anything this
by a
bad.
landslide.
Stein takes the shit cake.
Yeah.
Sorry, Peter,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah. I still want to call out. I want to call out Sneijder. I want to call out Van der Vaart, and I want to call out Van der Meijden, because the thing that I think is absolutely ridiculous is that they can be so pro Stijn and then be so anti Maduro. Because Stijn played dreadful football, and they kept saying, "Nah, he can't do better. He can't do better." But the moment Maduro takes over, he's terrible, and it's gonna be garbage, and there's no improvement.
Well,
How?
Why
does it matter that there's no?
Listen, it goes even more than that. Look, it's fine. You can have criticism as a pundit to certain coaches, players, and stuff. But Sneijder was even questioning the integrity of Maduro.
Yeah, but that's also got to do with the psychologist which came out, and Maduro gets full blame on that.
True.
Like it was his thing, and maybe he played a role in it. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. But he gets the full blame from the group, Sneijder. And actually, Sneijder said, "Yeah, I might be doing something in the future at Ajax. Please don't. Please don't."
He also said he didn't want to do that like 3 days before, and then he changed his mind 3 days after. No, we don't want you. Go away.
Yeah.
Yeah, stick to apologizing to F-side. That's what you can do.
Looking back, it makes. I mean, you can add the pieces together, right? Because if you look at Sneijder and Van der Vaart, they were both asked to come during the Stijn tenure, and it didn't happen. But if you look back now and everything they're saying on TV, clearly we should be very lucky and happy that it didn't happen, because a couple of days after Van der Vaart said, "Yeah, I was asked, but I could not do it because I live in Romania, my private life, stuff like that." He went on and he said, "These players are shit." Literally, I'm not even making it worse than it is. He literally said, "These players of Ajax are shit." Can you imagine if he was being an assistant and he said a couple of days before that he was supposed to be the bridge between Stijn and the players? And that's your opinion
Stijn
about
said
the
it
players.
as well, right?
I'm sorry?
Stijn said it as well. After the window closed, Stijn said something like, "Yeah, I don't know what I can do with this kind of group."
Exactly. Yeah.
What's that kind of attitude? You first agree that you have no influence, then you get a team, and then you open your mouth?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Also, if you can't see that the way Stijn played was absolutely ridiculous, then I don't want you at Ajax at all.
Exactly. And that's the strange thing with those analysts. We all have eyes. We can all see the progression in the game, even against PSV. Surely we lost 5-2, but we all saw that it could have been, if Robbie had a bigger nose, or a better nose, we would have led 4-1 by halftime against PSV.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen.
Yeah.
But the whole game was much better.
True.
You can see that.
Absolutely.
And still, they bash the team, they bash the quality, they bash Maduro. It's ridiculous.
And the worst part of all is that we all had to agree with Van Hooijdonk.
Yeah.
Actually, Van Hooijdonk was talking about this.
He was so correct, and it was painful.
Yeah, sometimes I'm also thinking the other way around. I'm thinking like, instead of being pissed or angry or shocked about these ex-players of Ajax talking like this about Ajax, it also shows you a little bit how they feel towards Ajax, also going through bad times. Because if you take, for instance, like interviews with Alderweireld, Veldman, Vertongen, Schöne, these kind of players, Siem de Jong, I don't know if I mentioned him, but
Blind.
Blind, they talk differently about Ajax. You know, even though they're not pundits, but still they get interview about Ajax, but they're much more sensible about what they say, and you can feel they're hurt about what's happening at Ajax.
And Blind
very
has
good.
every reason not to be polite, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
still,
Yeah, exactly.
you know, that's I think you call class or whatever.
Yeah.
All right, guys,
Let-
wrapping it up.
let-
I'm going to the
let-
final comments.
let-
Iedereen,
one
I
more
really
thing.
have to go to the
No,
comments.
one more thing, Juan. One more thing. Do remember that Van der Meijden, Schneider, Van der Vaart, as big as Ajax players they were the guys that made Liedmanen a hard time at Ajax. Remember that.
Yeah, we know. Yeah. Okay. Luca is saying Van der Vaart, Sneijder, and Van der Meijden are just attention seekers. It's a pity, but enjoyable. Well, not everybody enjoys it, Luca, but glad you do. Christian is saying, I'm not taking Van der Vaart serious anymore. He says he doesn't have time for a function at Ajax, but he can sit all of those TV programs and give his opinions. BS.
Exactly.
Rick is saying Stan completed total espionage on the club. Wait, the host just got a compliment. That never happens. Thank you, Luca. I agree.
It's
Thank
a
you for
mistake.
that.
Hey, we can't have those. Come
Must
on,
be a
is that-
mistake. Yeah, so Luca is saying the problem against PSV was a lack of tactical appearance.
No.
Yeah, Anthony's adding
Mental.
to that. It was Liedmanen and Ibrahimovic.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
Ibrahimovic was a bit more against Van der Vaart at the time. And the bullying of Liedmanen was more with those three.
Team effort.
Yeah.
Anthony is saying, guys, I tuned in a little bit later. But did you guys already talk about Ramai? He was
No.
very great. What a goalkeeper. Yes, we did. Yes, definitely we did. And then finally, I'm going to wrap up. Roy always does this to me.
Yes, I saw that one.
Last question, Juan. Do a last question. I actually don't have a last question. And then after that, do also a last question. No, I don't have a last questions.
No, but he
then,
made a
of course,
remark
he had to
about
give an
you.
example.
Yeah, that one.
Juan is the type of guy who would write a conclusion to a paper and follow up the conclusion with another conclusion, and thank you note, a summary and another conclusion. Thank you, Roy, for this is
It
It's
is-
a job towards
all our
the second
viewers.
half,
It is
All
a
our
skill, right?
viewers- No, but all our viewers will really think I'm like that. I'm not like that. Actually,
You're just the host.
You just started again with actually.
no, I don't have a last question. I was just joking. Guys, coming back to everything tonight, glad to have you, Pierre. Glad to have you, Thomas. Jadrenko, thank you so much. I know I had to rush you a little bit, but still it was 1.5 hours. Great win, 2-0 against Volendam. We go to Heerenveen
Lovely.
on the weekend. Step by step, we're happy with Van het Schip. We're happy with the performance of the players. Let's continue building this
Heerenveen,
confidence.
right?
I'm sorry?
Heerenveen is
yeah.
coming up.
Yeah, Heerenveen coming up. Also a home game.
Yeah,
So
lovely.
let's stay behind the team, guys, and hoping for the best. Thank you all.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.